Next on Worcester News Tonight, a body is found in the basement of a Worcester home after a man went missing for more than 2 weeks. Tonight, we hear from loved ones. Plus, a proposed fare hike for commuter rail riders is receiving a lot of attention from city and state leaders. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. A city man is arrested in connection to human remains found in the basement of a Worcester three-decker. Police say the victim has been missing for nearly 2 weeks. The investigation brought police to a house on Penn Ave, which led to a disturbing discovery. Our Cam Jandros live in Worcester tonight with those details. Cam?
The victim in this case has been identified as 68-year-old Marcelino Mueces. Police saying they found his car about a week after he went missing, and the investigation then led them to the address of 24 Penn Avenue, where they ended up finding his remains. Police also saying it appeared his body had been moved, and they're treating his death as suspicious.
He would get his checks every weekend, bring it to my house, and we together would go and cash it. And he never showed up to come to the bank.
68-year-old Marcelino Mueces was reported missing on February 19th. An investigation led Worcester police to this three-decker on Penn Ave.
Detectives obtained a search warrant for 24 Penn Ave, executed the search warrant on March 2nd. They found a shallow grave and they found the remains of Mr. Mueces.
Tuesday, police arrested 53-year-old Thomas Guerin as a result of the investigation. An emotional scene as loved ones gathered inside Worcester Police headquarters. The victim's girlfriend, Yolanda Lopez, says she isn't sure how the two knew each other or why Mueces is dead.
He wouldn't even raise his voice. So, I don't know. Those are questions that we all have.
Police say Guerin had the victim's ID on him and also cashed his paycheck. Guerin is facing multiple charges, but murder is not one of them.
Today, Mr. Garner was picked up on the warrant, which was for disinterment of a body, misleading a police investigation, and identity theft.
Neighbors on Penn Ave say they're stunned something like this could happen on their street.
It's very disturbing. It's very disturbing.
It's scary. I don't know another word for it.
This is crazy. We are scared. We are nervous.
Mueces lived in Worcester and was a father of 7. Lopez remembers her boyfriend as a family-oriented, hardworking man.
I always used to tell him, your teeth are going to fall down as much you laugh.
Now, the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner has accepted this case. They performed an autopsy earlier today, but the cause and manner of death are still pending. Guerin will face a judge tomorrow for his arraignment. Live in Worcester tonight, I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
City Council unanimously votes to extend City Manager Edward Augustus' contract by 5 years. The terms of the proposed extension were discussed during an executive session tonight. Councilor Sean Rose says he couldn't discuss the details, but says the contract would keep Augustus in the position through 2025. He says they want to try and keep Augustus and his team in Worcester as long as they can.
Had a thrilling, amazing, fantastic evaluation this past June. He hasn't slowed down since. So looking at the past evaluation in his body of work, we felt that it was an appropriate time to start renegotiating that.
Rose says contract negotiations at this point isn't a new thing for the city. He says former city manager Michael O'Brien had his contract negotiated at the same time when he re-upped his 5-year contract. Augustus's current contract is up October of 2020. Well, it was a busy day at the Worcester City Clerk's office. It was the first day nomination papers were available for the 2019 Worcester municipal election. According to Assistant City Clerk Nico Vangeli, 11 people pulled papers for at-large city council, 4 for district council seats, and 10 for school committee. The list provided by the Election Commission office is a mix of incumbents and newcomers. Nomination papers are available through May 14th. The election is November 5th. Potential fare hikes for MBTA services, including commuter rail trains on the Worcester-Framingham line, are getting a lot of attention. Representative Mary Keefe was aboard the commuter rail to Union Station tonight. She was handing out flyers to riders to make sure they're aware of the potential fare increase in Wednesday night's public hearing. She says commuters she spoke to were concerned it would cost them $25 more per month to ride the train.
Most people think that the money that this increase is going to generate is going to help Boston out, and that we won't see improvements along this line. And, you know, there's a lot of improvements to be had. They wish that our system was really encouraging people to take the train more than discouraging them with this kind of increase.
The 5 o'clock train from Boston arrives in Worcester right when the meeting is set to begin. Keefe says she hopes dozens of riders will voice their opinion. City and state leaders argue people rely on public transportation and raising prices might keep them from taking the commuter rail. Our Brittany Schaefer has more.
Representative Jim O'Day is fighting against proposed MBTA fare hikes.
Any idea around a rate hike is very concerning, because I think a lot of the ridership will feel a $25 round trip.
For Worcester, there would be a 75-cent increase, raising the price for a trip to Boston from $11.50 to $12.25. The MBTA is holding a meeting Wednesday night at Union Station to discuss the fare hikes. O'Day says originally they were planning on coming to the city.
We have a high ridership, so for them to not have considered coming here was a little bit disturbing to me, so I'm happy that they're coming. Those who take it every day or several days a week, I think it's their voice that we really need to hear tomorrow.
In Boston, city councilors are suggesting withholding money the city pays to the MBTA to reach a compromise. Here in Worcester, councilors say it's important to be able to negotiate.
I'm certainly on board with the idea of let's figure out how to get a seat at the table. And I think that's what it's really about. And, they're talking about withholding funding as a way to be heard. And I think that that's the best way we can represent the folks that we serve.
If you're in a somewhat quasi-public agency like the MBTA is, and you're asking for public money, there should be an opportunity for the public, through their elected officials, to withhold some of that money.
O'Day says the commuter rail is a necessity in Worcester, and hopefully there can be another solution than raising fares.
Here in Worcester, having a strong commuter rail is imperative to be strong economically. And before they go raising any additional cost to the ridership, that they make sure that they have much greater reliability.
Again, the public hearing will take place here at Union Station at 6:30. O'Day says it's important for riders' voices to be heard. At Union Station, Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
New bodyworks regulations in the town of Oxford require spas to be permitted. But as of today, 3 have not done it. The chief told us last week he was waiting on the businesses to get permitted and provide identification. The Board of Health says the regulations are intended to protect the health, safety, and consumer interest of all residents and visitors who utilize these services, as well as the employees or potential victims of human trafficking. The Office of Student Affairs at the College of the Holy Cross calls the tearing down of a poster of African American women another act of intolerance on the college's campus. In an email sent to students and staff last month, Administrator Michelle Murray says someone tore down an RA's bulletin board celebrating the achievements of African American women. Murray calls it a hateful act. She says the Department of Public Safety is investigating the incident to find those responsible. Work to improve the look of Worcester's Main Street downtown promises to help the area, but the construction and the process of getting around it is causing headaches for local businesses. Our Chandler Walsh explains.
Construction lines storefronts on Main Street in Worcester. The work hasn't made its way to Worcester Pizza yet, but owner Brunilda Gramo says she's terrified for when it does.
I'm scared we will lose business because it's kind of difficult for the customer to come inside the store, especially the paths, those narrow paths.
The work is blocking parking spaces as well as direct access to some buildings. It's leaving pedestrians like Tammy Dyer confused.
No offense. I had to go all the way back down where I came from just to cross over to the other street, to now have to go all the way down there to cross back over onto the side.
Philip Nidry is the Special Projects Coordinator for the Worcester City Manager's Office. He says this part of reconstruction is underground work run by the state.
When you do that, you have to tear up the sidewalk. So in order to tear up the sidewalk, you have to have your vehicles, construction vehicles, graders, whatever it may be, in the street.
Nidri says all Main Street work will end in 2020 with new sidewalks, curbstones, and lights. He says the city recognizes the challenges it poses, and he's visited affected businesses to hear concerns.
If you're a small business, you on a daily basis struggle, not even a question. And we're trying to make it as easy as we can.
Gramo says the work needs to be done and she'll appreciate the new sidewalks, but finds it difficult to be patient when it affects business. She says she's heard from neighbors whose businesses have already suffered.
A couple weeks is okay, but months, it's kind of difficult for us to survive.
Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Now to an update on a story we brought to you earlier this week. 6-year-old Brody Simoncini, winner of this year's IHOP Kids Chef competition, is honored at the Worcester City Council meeting. Brody and his family gathered as Mayor Joseph Petty presented him with the key to the city. Brody has come a long way. He was born with a rare condition and spent a lot of time inside a hospital. It was during his time at Boston Children's Hospital, part of Children's Miracle Network, which qualified Brody for the contest and ultimately won his recipe, Oreo Oh My Goodness. His family could not be more proud.
Crazy, just kind of how everything evolved just for him winning this contest. You know, his story getting out there, and now like the mayor and everyone recognizing him for what he's achieved, and you know, it's really amazing.
I think it's really great that he won, and I think his pancake is really good.
March 7th, IHOP in Northborough will be holding a pancake party for Brody's friends and family to celebrate his contest win.